Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 185 of the Immigration Lawyers Podcast. We have a great guest today, a colleague, Nadine Heitz, who, if you're on any of the listservs and you're active online, you've definitely seen her name and the contribution she gives, especially in the tech area, which we're going to talk about, but also with just updating us on practice and all the information that's helpful. Before I start, I want to remind everybody that the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine is out. The first issue was released. Go to immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com/magazine to read that. Chock full of information, more than 10 articles, in-depth analysis of legal stuff that'll, if you're, whether you're a new person learning immigration law, help you out, whether you're older. I also want to let you know about verifiedimmigrationlawyers.com, a directory I created for immigration lawyers so that they could really, put the goods out there to show what they have experience in. Because I found all the other websites are very generic and they don't really show what an immigration knows and their samples of success. And I thought only another immigration attorney will be able to begin to help clients decipher who has actually done something or not. So if you have questions or information you want to be posted on that directory site, just email me at info@immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com and we'll check it out. With that, let's jump in. Nadine, how are you doing? Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, John. I've been watching your show, so it's good to be on with you.
Awesome, thank you. To start, could you let us know a little about, the audience, I know you well, but about where your practice is and what kind of cases you handle?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in South Florida. I'm in a town called Lake Worth Beach, which is close to West Palm Beach, not too far from Miami, like an hour from Miami. So I'm a solo. We do mainly family cases. We do a little bit of business. We do a little bit of removal. So, but mainly family.
Interesting. So removal too. So that's a little bit of removal is a lot of work still.
It is. I know. I used to do a lot more, and it seems to have, asylum is challenging these days, right? So especially in the last few years, it seems to have kind of gotten, a lot lesser focus.
So one thing I want to start with is your experience in tech, and you're always really up to date on this kind of stuff. And you have a Facebook page. Could you let us know what the name of the Facebook page is and how people could join it, and then talk about what your interest is in?
Absolutely. I'd love, my favorite topic. So I started the Facebook group. I want to say it's like a couple of years now, called Technology for Immigration Practitioners, in brackets TIP. So I know that's a mouthful, Technology for Immigration Practitioners. There's also a corresponding website called tiplawyers.com. And I started the Facebook group, we're all a member of so many Facebook groups, right? And I really saw that there was a need for a group that specifically talked about all the technology, all the apps, all the practice management questions that were floating around on the various groups. And I thought, hey, this is something I'm really passionate about. I want to start my own group. And I started it. And, we've got about maybe, I just checked, I think we've got close to 900 members now. So let's get it to 1,000. So if you want to join, look it up online. You can, there's just a few questions you need to answer. I do want to limit it to immigration lawyers. So you've got to just answer a few questions. Obviously, if I know you, I'll admit you right away. So it's a lot of fun. I really love it.
That's really neat, and you have so many pieces of technology that you use. There's one thing you always mention when people ask, how do you manage case management software? And I think you said you use Monday.com and Dubsado. Like, what are these softwares?
Right. Yeah. I've been through a journey myself with trying to find the right software, right? And, as a solo, maybe you do participate in kind of, checking different software apps out more so than if you were maybe in a big firm and you were limited to just, one type of software that your company is using. So I launched my firm in 2015. I knew right away from the beginning that I wanted technology to play a big part of how I do business with my clients. So I started out using, some of the programs like e-immigration Serenade. A lot of us use that. I tried other things like Smokeball, not very well heard of in the immigration industry, but does do forms. That wasn't working too good. And then I got into the My Case. I tried Clio. I was with Clio for for a while. I switched to Practice Panther. And all this time, I was using a separate system, of course, for the immigration forms. Like I said, I used to use Serenade, then I switched to Prima Facie, and now I'm using DocketWise. So I'm happy with the immigration forms software with DocketWise now. But what I was not happy with is using Clio or even Practice Panther, because I couldn't customize them enough. I couldn't put it, I wanted to see my cases in certain stages that the case goes through. And this is a common thing that I hear from other lawyers that, for example, something like Clio, the stages they give you are open, pending, and closed, right? That's it. Like that's like a case goes through more than just those stages. To me, a case goes through, you're in the document collection phase, right? Then you're in the USCIS submission phase. Then it's like received by USCIS, but no receipt yet. Then it's got the receipt. Then it's got the biometrics, and all these stages. I wanted to track them. I wanted something that I could look at and eyeball and go through with my staff quickly when we do our status review meetings to see, where are these cases at? Show me the red flags. Oh, that case was sent in 2 months ago and we still don't have the receipt. Not unusual now, right? But, the red flag. Exactly. So that's why I came across Monday early last year. And then when the pandemic hit, I experimented with Monday. I started off using it just for task management. And I soon launched and built my entire practice management system with Monday. And it's at monday.com. I know it's a funny name. And it's great. I'm really happy with it.
So I remember last year they were having some advertising push where every time I went on YouTube, their advertising would come. Maybe people heard it was like an English accent voiceover or something like that. It's definitely a try. Like I use an old school Excel sheet for this kind of stuff. My volume is pretty low, but I've tried using Trello, and I'm trying out. I think I'll ClickUp right now for kind of.
ClickUp is a little bit similar. Yeah, I know a couple of attorneys who really love ClickUp, and it's a little bit similar to Monday. Honestly, though, in comparisons, to me, you can't beat what Monday does, because Monday is kind of like a glorified Excel spreadsheet with all kinds of bells and whistles, and the integrations with other apps like your Gmail or other. You don't even need Zapier for a lot of these integrations. So I have status reports that go out to my clients automatically every month based on the status of the case. So when something is in the USCIS pending status, every month the client gets an automated status report. So it's kind of like on autopilot until we change the status to the next phase, and then they get a different report. So, the more you can communicate with your clients and tell them what's going on, even if nothing is going on, the better it is, right? We kind of know that.
Yeah. And so that's wonderful. You mentioned Zapier or whatever it's the technical name is. That's a software, for those who don't know, when you have two different apps that helps them communicate information in between. And one thing I'm happy with them is I have like an ebook that people download, and then I get their email address and it goes to my newsletter system. And
excellent.
But sometimes people will unsubscribe, and I have Zapier to do the unsubscribe. But 1 out of like 15 times, Zapier will fail and not do it.
Me too. I know. I don't know why occasionally that happens.
It's like it's obnoxious, especially if it's a European client and there's those European regulations and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna happen with like small volume and small scale that we're doing stuff. But I have to like double check its work, which is then it's like, what's the point if I'm double checking its work, like if it's not doing it right? And I'm contacting about it, but they're like, we don't see it or something like that. But that's the one thing I'd share. It's not 100%.
Yeah. I know what you mean. And then you mentioned Dubsado, which is another funny name for an app, but this is a little bit lesser known app that is mainly a CRM, a customer relationship management app. And I really, really love it. I only use it at the front end. So, think of a lead coming in, right? If you can go to my website, you can submit a contact form, you can book your consultation online, you can do all that. Or I also use Smith AI, the reception service. They have the link to the same form from Dubsado. So they will book my consultation, and everything is automated with Dubsado, which is what I love. So the client gets their invoice to make their payment. They're reminded. Then when I sign them up, I have a proposal and an invoice and a contract all in one email that the client gets. So it's not like sending attachments. Before I used Dubsado, I would email a client a quote as an attachment, or I would give it to them in person if they were in my office, right? When we did consultations in the office. But with COVID and everything being remote, I wanted a better way to send my quotes or proposals to clients. And Dubsado I think it was mainly created for creative people like photographers, wedding planners. There's all kinds of, online chats about people that are in those fields. But there is actually a Dubsado for lawyers group, and lawyers are discovering it. So it's a nice thing. The reason I like it is it allows you to send a really kind of more like a website looking proposal. So it's not just a PDF attachment sheet with, your price on it. It's actually a link to an online, think of it kind of like a landing page, but it's also a PDF that the client can download. And you can put your pictures in it. You can, put buttons to click on. So they accept the proposal. Then they go immediately to your contract. They can sign your contract right there. And then they go immediately to your invoice, and they can make their deposit payment for their invoice right there. But then I put them into Monday after that, because I want Monday to be used for all the status trackings we do. So, and then they connect with Zapier. So that's kind of how I'm doing it.
Very interesting. Yeah, I have a little more mechanical kind of system where, I'll send an email follow-up for consultation, or I use Calendly now.
I use Calendly too. Yeah.
And have them pay through that with PayPal. And then we schedule consultation. After consultation, I send a follow-up email. And when they okay for a contract, I use e-sign. Let me see what it was called.
HelloSign.
HelloSign or HelloSign.
Yeah.
And I just put their name in there. So it's a little bit of a work. Maybe I should make my contract more generic where I don't have to type in their name, but the prices vary depending on the case and like extra services, and having them e-sign it, then they're in the system. And I use Dropbox and for documents. And I know you use FileVine. Is that correct? You do
I use Box.
Not for that, but was it you and on tips that you were talking about?
Pipefile. Yeah,
right.
Pipefile is awesome. So Pipefile is for when we already have signed up a client, because so many of these client portals are not the greatest. As much as I love DocketWise for forms, for immigration forms, I'm just not there yet with their client portal. So instead of having the client log in, create a password for this portal thing, I use Pipefile, and I've done a webinar with Ksenia from Orlando, Ksenia Marova, and Pipefile is awesome because it's a great, secure, and easy way to send a link to your client with a list of the documents they need to upload. And you can put little explanations in there. You have templates. So I'm pretty well covered. I've got DocketWise for my forms, right? All my data for the client, the questionnaires. And I've got Pipefile for the documents. So even though I'm using a number of different apps, I still feel like it's pretty seamless because they all kind of talk to each other, and it works pretty well.
The work of it is like every time you want to start something new, like I'm trying to switch from Trello to ClickUp and learning it. There's such a burden of learning and going to the next step that it dissuades you. You're moved from Serenade to e-immigration to learning to to DocketWise. That's a lot of work and a lot of brain power to try and learn these new softwares. It's hard. It's hard to put it is.
But you know what I tell people? I think a lot of us and a lot of people who are using and trying different things, I think they underutilize the tech support of all of these companies. So, I see things posted a lot of times online. How do you do this? And I'm not just saying not in my own group, but there's other groups that I'm members of. How do you do this? How do you do that? I had trouble this. And when I run into that problem, the first thing I do is I immediately send an email or, whatever system the company has for their tech support. And most of the companies are pretty awesome. Like Monday, for example, I knew nothing about Monday, and I am not at all a computer person. Like, I hate to tell you, but I failed a computer programming class in university because it was horrible, actually horrible. I'll never forget it. They made me do like punch cards, and we had to learn SAS, the language, SAS, and oh my God. Like I always loved technology, even from a young age. And I thought, oh, great, I'm going to take this computer programming course. But, this was like ages ago, right before, when they were still using punch cards. And I hated that course. So I am not at all into computer programming, languages, or any of that. So when I use an app, I want it to be easy. I want it to be intuitive. And if I can't figure it out myself, I will immediately contact tech support. And Monday's tech support is so awesome. Like, they will just email me back, and then we'll have this thread going for like back and forth, how to do this for like maybe 6 back and forths. And then I found to something new that I discovered. So I think a lot of times we maybe tend to give up. We don't know how to do something. We get frustrated, right? Oh, this isn't working. I hate this app. I don't know how to use it. It's not working. Have you tried contacting tech support? Ask them for a demo. DocketWise is the same thing. As much as DocketWise seems to be easy, sometimes it's just not intuitive the way they have certain things arranged. But when you ask them to show you, it makes perfect sense. So sometimes you just need someone to show you.
And one thing is, I got a software, I'm sure you have it too, Loom. Where you can record what your desktop
shows. Yeah, I use that all the time.
And I use that for tech support to say, listen, this is what I can't figure out. It's easier.
I encourage everyone to do that, because you can get that for free. There is a paid version, but you don't need that. The free version is fabulous. The paid version allows you to save your videos, but if you're just using it for a little tech support, or even explainer videos to a client or to a team member, get Loom. It's fabulous. Yeah, I do that too, because by the time you write up an email, right, to tech support saying what happened, it's so much easier just to show them what happened.
Exactly. That's been a really game changer. It's made life so much easier than having to think it through on the email. Just talk about it, show it. And I started now using it with clients when they ask questions about like, how long could I be outside the US? And I should probably save some sort of text for it. But now just have a quick Loom video. I said, well, you can't be outside for 6 months. This the repetitive stuff would just be a video. You can put on YouTube too to get a thing, but if it's more, information you don't want to put out publicly as individual, Loom is just a link that's internal.
Yeah.
Later too.
Yeah.
Now, I was watching this. I watched this YouTube channel called Valuetainment, where it's a guy that talks about business and all this kind of stuff. And he was reading, I think, the Harvard Business Review or something like that. It said every 18 months to be able to succeed nowadays, you have to learn like 15 new skills. And that was kind of overwhelming, but it's the reality to be able to compete and stay on top. You got to learn new skills. And each of these softwares like Monday and Dubsado or
right.
the skill you got to learn.
You got to. And, I also hear complaints that, well, my client doesn't have email. My client doesn't do this or that. A lot of these apps do allow you to text information to clients. And, the other thing too, as you mentioned, we're all, supposed to learn new skills all the time. Many of our clients want to communicate with you online, right? Think of the generation growing up now. They don't even want to make a phone call, right? They just want to go online and be anonymous. And if you look at some of these new companies, like I posted something in my group the other day, I can't remember what state it was. I don't know if it was Washington, but you know how there's these non-lawyer firms now that are starting tech companies to kind of like the Rocket Lawyer and There was one, and everybody, freaks out and says, this is ridiculous. It's not going to get rid of lawyers, but still, we should be looking at what they're doing, because what that article said is that one of the biggest complaints that people have is the process of finding a lawyer. You got to call somebody. You got to make a consultation. You got to go meet them. You got to pay for it, right? So if we can make that whole process easier by using technology and making it work fast and efficiently, then we're going to be ahead. So that's why I think we really have to use technology. And like you said, learn new things all the time.
It is service. I have to call a plumber, and just texting them or something and getting a quote or breakdown or showing a picture of where the leak is. It's just easier for me to have to call somebody. And, new generation is even worse. And I was born in '84, so I'm millennial. Like new generation, they don't want to do confrontation kind of direct stuff at all.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I'm finding that all the phone and Zoom consultations I'm doing now are working pretty good. And I don't think I'll even want to go back to in person unless it's something really that the client insists when, things are better. So, yeah.
It's so much more efficient. I mean, a lot of people are they're saying zoom down stuff. For me, especially because I do videos all day, every day. It's like this, like for me, like it's so much smoother and easier. There is some power in seeing someone in person, but for the most part, consultation where someone wants to drive up and like, put an hour aside and with traffic or 9 to 5 hours not working out. I do consultations at 7 p.m., Saturday mornings at 10. Like, I just makes it more flexible for people to be able to contact me and communicate with me.
Exactly.
So I'm really enjoying now people are forced to do it. Before I would force my clients, now they're kind of want to do it themselves because of the COVID situation and just with their customers.
Right.
What direction is your office taking 2021? What kind of game plan or, what plans do you have with changes and
Yeah, well, my plan is to really ramp up the automation even more. So that's my big thing is, not having to enter data twice, right? So you get a client in, you've got their name, their phone number, their address, their email. I want that to be entered once. Even though I've got a lot of systems and I'm pretty happy with what I have, I think I can still do better. I think I can automate things even more. And it does take time, especially when you're working on this yourself and, you don't have a lot of staff support. But, I'm adding very slowly to my team. I have someone now, a new title that I created, Director of Community Relations. So it's kind of a handful, but, she follows up with leads. And hopefully when things get better, this person will be booking events in the local community. I love participating in events, and I really miss that. And here in the town where I am in, we're a beach town. We're really close to the beach. We're close to West Palm Beach, but we're not as big as West Palm. I'm not like in Miami where there's 1,000 immigration lawyers. So we all know each other here, the immigration lawyers, and we're pretty friendly. So I love participating in local events, doing clinics, stuff like that. So that's the direction I hope to take in 2022, I guess.
Florida's got a big immigration lawyer community, and the numbers, I was looking at statistics of filings, the USCIS local field offices there. It's one of the bigger ones. Now, I thought Los Angeles was big, but now when I see USCIS stats, it's like, it's sometimes 5 or 6 or 7, like between Texas and New York and Miami. Those are ports.
Yeah. And a lot depends too on the type of clientele that you tend to cater to, right? So we have a huge Haitian population here in South Florida. And I would say that probably I want to say 75% of my clients are Haitian. And the thing with the Haitians is once they love you, they love you. They refer you to all their friends, and they're very loyal once they're happy with you. But the other challenge with them is they tend to sometimes not value paying for legal services, and they go with these, just these, notary services, these document preparation services, and they run into a lot of trouble and problems. And I feel like a third of my cases are fixing things that other, these people did for them that got denials and everything. So I really want to educate that community a lot more and do some talks in some local churches and stuff, and just let them know, hey, I know it's hard to try to think of paying a lawyer to do your case, but really you're not doing yourself any favor by trying to go the cheap route, because you're just going to pay more in the long run, and who knows, screw up your case. So I really want that message to get across.
Now, you're originally from Canada. Do you speak French as well?
I speak a little French, Another thing, they love me because I'm from Canada, right? So they right away think I speak French and high school French, and it's my dream to kind of learn and develop French. I don't speak Spanish, but I do have a full-time assistant who does speak Spanish, and my new team member, Janet, my community relations director, she speaks Spanish too. So we're covered there. But I'm also originally, my parents are German. I was born in Canada, but I speak fluent German. So sometimes that helps, but not a lot. There's not that many German immigrants anymore, but there's a few. So I do get some of the European clients, and I get, of course, a lot of Canadian clients, because once they hear I'm Canadian, they love that. And, so yeah.
Is this a Kurzman's firm filed the TPS lawsuit for Haitians, and it just clicked to me. There's such a big, I didn't realize there was a big population of Haitians that were there. I know they have TPS, and then at least the lawsuit is keeping it extended. That was El Salvador, a lot of
right, yeah.
The road for those until, who knows, this bill passes.
I
be a lot of the Haitian community TPS clients doing adjustment or whatever program there is.
Definitely.
And that's where the technology comes in handy, kind of like mass contact them. BlackRock just introduced a text messaging platform, their system. I haven't used it yet, but that could be very powerful too. I I was researching on marketing through text, and it was so expensive. But then I'm like, how are they going to put a plan that makes sense monetarily for them? Because they're charging like, like these websites, like a penny or two per text. But then if you have 1,000-person list, and I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but it would come out to like, one text ended up being like, $100. And I mean, it's worth it if you get one client out of it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
But like, it's hard wrapping my head around what this stuff means. And it's this thing about technology. You got to kind of dive in and, be patient and just learn it. It's just really hard. Yeah.
And take advantage of the free trials they have, right? And there's another tip is, if your free trial is running out, ask for an extension. You'll be surprised. They usually will give it to you. I've done that so many times. I've tried something out. It's like a 15-day free trial or a 30-day free trial. And they say, hey, you know what? Can you give me another month? Can you give me another few more weeks? I haven't really explored this. Because until you really try a program with a real case, you have no idea. And, it can be challenging.
Exactly. So Nadine, I'd love to have you on the program again and talk more. But if someone wanted to contact you, it's the best way to reach you. And do you have any social media handles or anything like that, other than the tip Facebook page?
Yeah. So my website is there on display, HeitzImmigrationLaw.com. You can email me at Nadine, Nadine at HeitzImmigrationLaw.com. Most of my social media accounts are under Heitz Law. I've got the usual Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff. So I try to post as much as I can.
How active are you on social media?
Well, I'm trying to do like at least a post a day, that kind of thing. It's, again, hard to keep up. I do have a company helping me with some of my marketing. Being a solo, it's you start off doing everything yourself, but at some point you realize you just can't, right? So I have a marketing company called Spotlight Branding, and they're helping me with some of my social media stuff and newsletter and stuff like that, because that way it gets done. I still have the final say, and I still review the content, and I'm still involved in everything. But I find what my problem is that I want to do it, but it just doesn't get done, right? Something else gets in the way. So that really helps.
Yeah, I hear you. It doesn't get done. You got to make it better. Like, well, I'm going to add this to it. And at a certain point, like, just let's get it out, and that's going to be more beneficial than sitting. Right.
But so check me out online, and like I said, I also have the TIPlawyers.com site where I'm now offering one-on-one coaching. I've done a few of those sessions already with some immigration lawyers, and that's been really fun because I got asked a lot, well, can you show me this? Can you show me that? Or I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do. So the one-on-one coaching is like a 1-hour session that I can do one-on-one and kind of go over your tech needs, what you're already using, do some screen sharing back and forth. Like I recently did one with a lawyer, and she showed me how she was using Monday. I showed her a few things, and now she's like a Monday whiz. Like she's posting stuff online saying, look what I did, and it's fabulous. So it can really help just to have a little bit of guidance to set things up.
I took a course, and they were talking about how to use Gmail properly, and it was really basic kind of stuff. And I showed my wife. She's like, you didn't know that? I'm like, no. And it like changed the game, how to like organize emails into like different groups and stuff like that. Automatically go to a certain folder instead of coming in your inbox. I was like, that was really easy. It cost me a lot of money to get the course, but it saved me a lot of time now. My inbox isn't full when I open it up. It's not
right. Well, that's definitely one of the things, is that I think so many of us are underutilizing all the stuff we have, right? And you may not even know some of the functions of what you have, and you could have overlaps. So you could be, like you mentioned, HelloSign, right? Well, maybe there's another app that you have that now has e-signing, and you might not be aware. So it's always good to do kind of like a tech audit at least every year. I would suggest even more frequently, just a list of what you have, what everything does, put it on a chart, go over it with your team. Maybe you have a team member that is really interested in technology. Maybe they could be the one kind of in charge of your tech apps, but take a look regularly at what you're using. And, you do need to make the change sometimes, right? Which is hard.
For a lot of people that we have law students and paralegals listening, this could be like a reason to get hired. If you go somewhere and you say, I know software and I could bring that skill with me, it's very vital. It saves a lot of money for the firm, so it's making money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much. It was great connecting with you. We'll definitely talk again soon.
Okay, it was fun. Thanks, John. Take care.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.